Yo, I was at the hustle today, right? And it's like I was on break and I was just scrolling through the phone or whatever, man, to see what was good, going through the YouTube feed, and then I see something that says the Disney Afternoon Collection. And it was at this point that like my body went like limp a little bit because I'm like, no, son, this is not happening. This is not a thing. This is too much like right for be a thing that's actually happening. So at this point, like I'm already like kind of fucked up. Like, no, this is not happening. And then I watched the trailer, and then they had the 8-bit rendition of the Disney Afternoon theme song, and it brought me back to watching Channel 11 and Channel 30 and Channel 2 after school, and I'm just like, damn. But the truth is, and I'm going to say this live, the 6 games in this collection, I don't really have, like, much of a nostalgia for them, like, as I would have been growing up watching the cartoons alongside them, because the only interaction I remember having with any of those 6 games in the collection as a kid was written DuckTales 2 and beating it. It took me a while to figure out what to do, and I don't even think I got the good damn minute. I think I just got to the end, beat the game, and was just like, fuck it. And that same weekend, I also remember written Street Fighter 2 Turbo, and me getting stuck on the first fight against Ryu, and I was playing as Ken and didn't know what the hell I was doing. And that's all I remembered. It wasn't until later, you know what I'm saying, that I really started to, like, appreciate, like, what these games do. It's like, I played the shot of DuckTales, but I don't go nuts when the moon thing comes on. I appreciate it as a great song, but I don't go nuts for it. It's like, I understand like how great of a platformer Darkwing Duck actually is. Yes, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers is a great platformer, but I'm not legally supposed to give a shit about it because my goddess Gadget Hackwrench isn't in it. It's a thing. I signed a contract. We will talk about it some other time. To be honest, I have played 2 seconds of Tailspin and I didn't like what I played. And that's just what it is and what it was. But now, we sit here and it's like, this is something that was to be expected given the state of Disney and how they move in product now since the commercial failure. And I don't even know if you can really call it a commercial failure, but it's dead in Disney Infinity that this is what the thing was going to be. But when you sit up here and think about like things in the Capcom library that you know or know does and things like that, I have been sitting up here saying when they sat up here and said that we remaking DuckTales, I sat up here and tweeted at fucking Way Forward like, where in the fuck is my HD remake of a better video game in Little Nemo the Dream Master? And I know that game is like hard as fucking balls, unfair as some motherfucking spots, but that game is my fucking shit. Alright, it's like, to bring it back Disney-wise is that, to be honest, and I'm going to link this article that I wrote for the blog a while back when the Mega Man Legacy Collection came out, is that you got this, but it's like, how do you follow up on this? Because as we saw that the Mega Man Legacy Collection was, I don't want to say a nightmare or a disaster or anything like that, it just wasn't exactly what fans were looking for. And it's like what I was looking for the future of that collection to come out with a round 2, which is of course 7, 8, Mega Man and Bass and 9, you know what I'm saying, things like that, the Power Battle, the Power Fighter, shit like that, you know what I'm saying, some Battle with Chase if you want to get that in there in the Game Boy games and shit like that. But Capcom ain't capitalized on that, and I do wonder why, and that might have a lot to do with emulation issues. Is that the thing is that in the hypothetical collection that follows up on the Mega Man Legacy Collection, I need the Saturn version of Mega Man 8. It's the better version. It's the superior version. It's the one I play. And one of these days when I rob enough fucking banks, I will buy a copy off eBay. You know what I'm saying? It is just what the fuck it is with that. And it's like when you sit up here and really think about this collection in general, about, I'm thinking too far ahead, but you have to sit up here and wonder, like, what can you really do with a follow-up to this? What can you really, really legitimately do? Because when you sit up here and think about the Amazing Disney game, of course you have the Magical Quest series on Super Nintendo. You got the Amazing Goose Troop, which in itself is a spiritual successor to Pirate Ship Hig and Marvel, which that gets no credit for, even though Shinji Mikami himself led Goof Troop to what the fuck it is as a cult classic now. It's like, going back to like the Magical Quest series, we never got the Magical Quest 3 on Super Nintendo in America. It came out later when they were re-releasing all those games for the Game Boy Advance, and it's like, the less I think about the Game Boy Advance of Mega Man and Bass, the better I will feel. That's just what the fuck it is with that situation right there. It's that you sit up here and then you got the argument of which version of Aladdin do you want. The Super Nintendo is different from the Genesis version because the Super Nintendo version was made by Capcom and the Genesis version was made by Virgin, I think. The same thing with the Lion King games, and it gets weird and it gets a bloody, nasty mess when you get over into that. And there are other games that Capcom did that you probably will never see. I know they had made a couple of games, you know what I'm saying, about like Tokyo Disneyland or some shit. And I'm sitting up here, and now the fuck that I thought about this. Well, technically, it technically isn't that because it can't be that, but I'll say this anyway. I understand. This is the Disney Afternoon Collection. Where in the fuck is a Nintendo game made by Capcom that is a Disney game that I actually have nostalgia for in Mickey Mouse Capades? Like, that game is hard as fucking balls. The game ain't fucking good, but Lord, do I have nostalgia for that damn video game. And one of these days, we're going to sit down and we're going to play it, and I'm going to tell all the stories about it and things like that. Because, like I said, I sit up here and we're going to talk about it real talk. Like, if I want to go play Darkwing Duck, I got a Nintendo. I have a copy of Darkwing Duck that I bought years ago at a flea market for like $5 fucking bucks, that if I want to play Darkwing Duck, I can. It's like stuff like this don't really affect me because a lot of these games that I own in my collection, so it's not really a big deal to me. But I do understand how big of a deal it's going to be for people to be able to experience these games, to revisit them, or even experience them for the first time. So this is a major boon to that. You sit up here and you also got to wonder on that other flip side of the coin about what's good with the Illusion games on Sega Genesis. We had the remake, and if you pre-order the remake, you could get the original Sega Genesis version. We ain't heard shit about Quackshot, and when it goes back to the Magical Illusion games and shit, you got the various versions on different systems on the Sega family of systems at that time that are different enough that deserve to be just as explored as anything else. And at this point, the only other way that you could really technically play Quackshot for real is if you buy a Japanese version of a video game on a Sega Saturn that you didn't have to mod or buy Action Replay for to play the damn video game. This is a new age right here. That Disney got stuff in the works and they just licensing it out. Like, you want to do something? Cool, whatever. Like I said earlier, I'm like, I want Little Nemo the Dream Master because that's my shit. I know that, like I said earlier, that game hard as fucking balls for no damn reason for a children's video game, but that is my shit, and I want to see somebody get into that dirt. You know what I'm saying? You got the Super Nintendo games from Capcom when it comes to Disney and things like that. They got a whole bunch of little underground stuff, you know what I'm saying? Doing the thing. I'm like, when Magical Tetris Challenge, that was a game that was actually made by Capcom for the Nintendo 64. I think they did one of the racing games too before they had lost the Disney license for a while. I'm not really 101% sure on that, but it's great to see this. It's like, this is one of those things that I'm glad that they doing. It was an underhanded pitch regardless. But the last couple of times I thought that Capcom had underhanded pitches, I honestly thought that they were going to release a follow-up to Final Fight and Final Fight and Magic Sword Double Impact, and was going to do something with Captain Commando and fucking Battle Circuit, and that never happened. So I don't know. I have no idea. Regardless of that, it's like, for real, and I said this at the beginning, I don't really have like a for real nostalgia for any of these video games, because these were video games that I discovered when I was a little more mature to understand what they brought to the table, and not necessarily sitting up here thumbing and playing the game all weekend. Because like I said earlier, the only game I rented out those 6 games in that collection is DuckTales 2. And it's like, and I bought Darkwing Duck later. You know, I bought Darkwing Duck off the cut later. I'm like, I don't know, because it's like, I honestly thought that, you know, when they did DuckTales Remastered, I really legitimately thought like some expanded version that was going to combine Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers 1 and 2 were going to be a thing. I thought that was going to be what they were going to do, and maybe they may do something with Darkwing Duck, with that getting to get ready to make a comeback alongside DuckTales and things like that. So it should be interesting to really see like what happens. It's like to see if the lessons from how the Mega Man collection and what it could have been, with all the stuff that they're adding, that they hopefully are listening, and hopefully they go back and go fix what it was that was semi-broken by fans that noticed what was broken. Oh, I'm sorry, I got distracted. I'm trying to like cook cheeseburgers and say my feelings on video game reveals. You can't do both. Like, the hamburger's still cooking. I forgot to turn on the oven for the fries. It's just weird. It's Wednesday. What you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? So, that's all I wanted to say. That's all your boy had to say. Oh, for the one time, that's all I had to say. It's like, I'm on this. Like, I think the collection costs $20. You know, $20 for 6 games, that's not bad. I wonder if they're gonna do what they did with the Mega Man Legacy Collection and actually put out something. But, you know, I don't know if we finna get amiibos. Cause I think they only releasing this for the PC, the PS4 and the Bone. So I don't know if you're gonna get like something like that, but it'll be nice to have like a physical copy of it. Just that, and I really think that this is a game that needs a physical copy, given licensing rights in general. Fucking period. I've talked about licensing rights and what they should do. Period. This needs a physical release just to cover that ass. So it's that, if nothing else, is that you preserve this and it'll last for quite a while. And at least if you wanted this, if you fuck up on one of these fucking services, they just can't take your video games from you because you technically renting it, nigga, you fucking dumbass. So that's what it is. I'm like, I really hope that whatever this is, they follow up on this with something. Hopefully with Super Nintendo games, because that just seems like the logical thing that makes sense. If Sega want to do some dirt, they free to re-release the Illusion games, which I really think that would be a thing to, you know, do alongside these things, to like have that. And I just had a random thought. Back in the day, the little homie that used to stay across the street used to have a copy of Bonkers on Sega Genesis that we could never ever get to work. And I think I might have ran through an emulation and played Bonkers once, played that shit for 5 seconds, like, nope. So maybe we don't need to revisit that. I'm like, wait a minute, hold up. Okay, because I am trying to think of cartoons, because The Little Mermaid, it was based on a movie, but that was a Saturday morning cartoon, because they used to come on Channel 4, on CBS. They used to come on Channel 4, so you wouldn't do that. You know what I'm saying? It's like Goof Troop, we talk about Goof Troop came later. You know what I'm saying? There wasn't a video game for Quack Pack. What else? I'm like, the Aladdin game, they were based on the movie and not necessarily the show that was a sequel to the movies, because I think in continuity, that cartoon takes place after, like, in between, like, parts of 1 and 2 or some shit. I'm like, I'm not high on my Aladdin lore, you know what I'm saying? But we shall see. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this into a video. I'm not done with you yet, Internet. No. As Ducky would say, no, I'm not done with you yet. Got one more of these, because I should have done this one 3 or 4 days ago, but I'm going to do it. So we going to get into that. Before that, I'm going to eat something, because I'm hungry as hell. Like, my stomach was growling at the hustle. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of these hamburgers. We going to do that. A whole bunch of other stuff. I will actually do this. I will actually link my little blog blurb about what the at the time of the announcement of the Mega Man Legacy Collection, and just put that in there, because a lot of my feelings still ring true about this collection. And it'll be interesting to see what Capcom does next with the various IPs. The only thing, well, that's not gonna happen. Like, if you tell me that Disney and Marvel actually give a shit enough to up-res and do some dirt with X-Men Mutant Apocalypse, I'm right there with you. Yep. X-Men Mutant Apocalypse. That game is a lot more important when it comes to the history of the Versus series than you'd ever think it is. And one of these days we are going to get into that. But today, it's not that day, and it's not that time right now. So again, this video, watch other crack that we done put up. Just got to Today and the King of Fighters video up, man, talking about Yamazaki. We just put in work. That's what we do. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to get up out of here. You know what it is. It's the one and the only, the triple, the G.O.D. And I'd like to thank you for joining me for another installment of Triple the Guy Speaks On. And with that, I'll you guys next time, man. Peace out.